of this discovery of what prosecutors here in France call a second terror cell in Saint-Denis, just north of Paris. Is the reach of Islamic State group a little bit bigger than we previously thought?
Well, it depends on who previously thought it. My view has always been, and the view of most experts, is that the Islamic State group, or Daesh, has had a very wide appeal. It has extremely wide appeal because there is the seduction of success. And if anything, it is a surprise that there are so few cells being discovered. Many, of course, have been disrupted by the intelligence services here in the UK and elsewhere. And of course, the appeal stretches not just in Europe, but is much greater in North Africa, in the Far East, and growing everywhere else in the world, including Central Asia.
So do you think that IS operations out of area, so to speak, out of the Middle East will be stepped up? Do you expect to see more attacks from Islamic State group?
Yes, I believe that there will be more people inspired to do so. I think we should be very careful not to give the Daesh people any more credit than they deserve. I'm not sure that any of the cells so far, there is any evidence that they're being directed by IS or Daesh in Syria, that they have primarily, I believe, instigated these plots and have dedicated them to Daesh. Some may have received some support, but nothing significant. I think so far most of the plots appear to be homegrown, but they are being inspired by Daesh, and people are allowing Daesh, and Daesh is taking credit for them. And in some ways, what I'm talking about is a somewhat academic distinction, but it is one that needs to be made. And there is no doubt the longer it exists as a state, the inspiration for people across the world will continue.
Now, President Hollande's strategy to fight IS is now emerging after the Paris attacks. He says that he wants closer cooperation between the United States and France on the one side, as well as Russia on the other side. Do you think that will work?
Well, I think that is a process that has already begun, and it began well before the Paris attacks. You recall a few weeks ago, 6 to 8 weeks ago, when Russia got involved militarily in this conflict. That is when the Western powers started to sit up and take this whole business seriously, and somewhat reluctantly, Russia has been brought in. Of course, the Vienna conference over the weekend, you had not just Russia, you had Iran sitting opposite the US and Saudi Arabia. So what were previously uncomfortable bedfellows have been brought together already before the Paris attacks, but the Paris attacks and the French president's involvement have the potential to cement a relationship that is just beginning to form and may well go the other way, but I think it will bring that relationship together and give it greater impetus.
Dr. Afzal Ashraf, thank you very much indeed.